Good evening, family. This is Dr. Kia Pruitt. It is Sunday, and the time is about 6:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is Sunday, June the 28th, 2026. We won't be on long, family. We just got some breaking news to discuss just a little bit to let you all know that things are moving along. President Trump is really being active in terms of making sure America is safe, and he's making sure he's putting America first. So check in, let us know where you're hailing from, and we'll get started in just a few minutes. Come on in. Come on in the room, family. Happy Sunday.
Shining wisdom's light, teaching soul tribe how to see through the night. Ancient scriptures and bloodlines she knows, spreading truth wherever she goes.
Good to see so many people checking in. Hit the like button, family, as you enter the room. Queens is in the house. Hello, South Carolina family. Beautiful people in the house. It's over 100 people in the chat. Hit the like button. Lake City, Florida. You made it, sis. You made it, brothers and sisters. Alabama's in the house. Come on in, family.
Breaking chains that hold us close, teaching paths to abundance and wealth, guiding others to free themselves. Soul tribe rising, hear her call, raising vibrations for one and all. Dr. Kia shows the way to a brighter, freer day. From currencies to investments divine, she's helping her tribe to realign with wisdom, ancient and new, showing what we all can do.
Connecticut is in the house. Check in, family. So good to see everybody. Welcome. It's my jam.
Rising, hear her call, raising vibrations for one and all. Dr. Kia shows the way.
Family, I'm just going to be brief today to tell you what's in the news and to tell you what people are saying might be coming out. Some things might be happening. We've been anticipating an emergency broadcast system announcement, and some people are saying if the Save America Act passes, because there's some rumors saying that it did pass, but it was held up in the Senate. If it passes, they're saying that it can give President Trump serious power to shut down the whole country. So we'll get in the news in just a few minutes. Come on in the room. Mm-hmm. All right. First order of business is this is Sunday. I hope everybody's having a beautiful weekend. Let us know how you're doing. Oh, you said I have a beautiful heart. That's so kind. Thank you. Thank you. Islam. I am, what is it? I self-law am masters, what they say Islam is? Yes. Greetings. Grand Rising. Thank you for saying I have a beautiful heart. That means a lot to me. Yes. Happy sunny day. Happy Sunday. Hi, family. Yes, goddess. All is well. So everybody's doing well. I'm glad to hear that. We have almost 200 people in the chat. Please hit the like button because that helps with the algorithms. But subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. And let's get right into the news. Hopefully, everybody is thriving and having a good day. The weekend's almost over. Monday is just in a few hours. Listen, I don't know if it's happened already, but yeah, 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time passed already. And usually during that time, the Forex market opens. And so, what you can see happen usually the beginning day of the Forex is that the gold or silver prices can change. They can either go up or high. That looks like silver just went down a little bit. It's 59.79 right now. So it went down what? I can't see that. Looks like 15%. That's not bad. Gold is 4,093 cents, but that's still really low compared to where gold and silver were at the beginning of the year. Do you all remember that gold had reached $5,300 an ounce? Silver was 130 an ounce, and now silver is 59.79 and gold is 4,093. So essentially that's a buying opportunity if you're in the market. But what I would say, and I'm not a financial advisor, is you might want to hold on to a little cash because you never know what's going to happen. Yes, you want to have silver. Yes, silver and gold are wealth. Yes, get it as you can. It's a store of wealth. Silver and gold is a hedge against inflation. You can save money by putting it in silver and gold because typically the prices will go up at some point. But silver and gold right now are volatile. So you might want to hold on to a little cash because the housing market is changing, the prices are coming down. You also might want to hold on to it because with the mass deportation, you have whole communities that are vacant. You have commercial property that's vacant, land that's vacant. People are fleeing because they know that President Donald Trump is not playing about his new policies to protect America, to save America from the massive influx of people from all over the world. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, has stated that we were having a migratory crisis and that we had to do something about it. This is why President Trump is questioning birthright citizenship, while he's questioning deferred action for childhood arrivals, undocumented students, F1 visas, H1B visas, because while we wanted to give people the opportunity to come to America to have a better life, it has gotten to the point where people are taking over all the jobs, all the markets, all the land, just about, to reaping, I don't want to say all the benefits, but a whole lot of benefits that essentially shuts Americans out of the jobs, of the homes, right, of the markets. So this is a time where you might want to hold on to some cash because opportunities will present themselves. The stock market, may continue to dip. The precious metals market it's going down. It's you experience what they say, kind of like a bear market. It's not bullish. Everybody's not getting into silver and gold right now as people are holding on to their assets and the prices are being suppressed. What else? Anything could happen. You always want to avail yourself of opportunities. Plus, some people anticipate high inflation to continue to go on. That's another reason why people are saying the silver and gold prices are going to come down, are coming down, is because people are anticipating high inflation. So they're holding on to their money. They might be liquidating some of their assets in order to have cash so that they can pay for their living, because the gas prices are still high, food prices are still high. Everything's high except for gold and silver and copper and some of these opportunities of which you may avail yourself. So, speaking of all this, hi everybody. If you are interested in silver and gold, you can go to your local coin company or you can contact my affiliate, Miles Franklin, Precious Metals Company, at 952-929-7006, and let them know that Dr. Kia Pruitt referred you so you can get the best prices in the industry. You're going to hear animals. I'm outside. It's just too nice It's actually hot, but it's too nice not to enjoy the weather. Everybody's doing well. I'm glad to hear that. I'm looking at the comments. New Zealand is in the house. Who said hello, Pruitt? Hey, Rich. Ooh, what you say? President Trump just pulled over 12 million green cards. Woo-wee. So what's the breaking news? This just happened the other day where President Trump won in the higher courts. Okay. He's basically saying, go home. Time is up. Temporary means temporary. This is what the borders are is saying. This is what the Trump administration is saying. Temporary is temporary. So you had an influx of people from all across the world here, right? On all these different visas. We talked about that already, as well as people delivering children here so that their children can have um, citizenship status and they can have birthright citizenship, and then the parents would get reap benefits on the uh, premise of their children having a United States citizenship. Well, recently now, President Trump has said we got to get rid of not just them, but others that we allowed to come in. So he won in the higher courts. And in the higher courts, it was determined that he, in fact, does have the power to tell the influx of 350,000 Haitians that had come into the country around 2010. He has the authority now to say your temporary protective status is over. So he's telling them they have to go home. And of course, the Haitians do not like this because they've gotten comfortable here. But the temporary protective status was only supposed to be for a short period of time because they had natural disasters in their country. And because of the natural disasters, a lot of people lost their homes, a lot of people lost their jobs, and so they came to America. But 350,000 Haitians here, that's a lot on top of all of the Haitians that already lived here. We had a huge influx in the 1980s. So you have 350,000 Haitians and 6,100 Syrians that had come over here under temporary protective status in 2012. The Haitians came over in the amount of 350,000 in 2010. Syrians came here in the amount of 6,100 in 2012. But the temporary protective status was supposed to help them get on their feet, gain access and opportunities to resources such as food stamps, welfare, medical benefits, jobs, business opportunities, etc. But many of them did not, of course, change their status. Many of them got, really comfortable here, had children, got married, built businesses, and lived their lives. And now the time has come for them to go home. And they're not happy about it. In fact, they were so unhappy about it that when he first said this, they took him to court. And it was ruled at that time to allow them to stay here. But just recently, the Supreme Court says President Trump does, in fact, have the power to send them home. So what's interesting is that now you have people getting online saying, we've contributed to the American economy, where some people are saying we're Black, just like the Black Americans. We're minorities. He's trying to, mistreat us based on racism, based on skin complexion. But the Trump administration is saying, no, we allowed you to come over here. Temporary just means temporary. And I'm wondering, Dr. Kia Pruitt, this is my commentary, what happened when we had that situation in Louisiana with Hurricane Katrina? That was a natural disaster. Did the country rush to their aid? Did the country rush to the aid of Texas when Texas had a snowstorm right around 2020, 2021, right around that time? We remember Hurricane Katrina. Not only did America and the government not rush to their aid, they allowed the hurricane to take all of their houses, destroy their properties, destroy their businesses, and they wouldn't even send FEMA out there to help them. And no government that I'm aware of, you guys can help me. I could stand to be corrected. No country that I know of reached out to all the people who in Louisiana who are victims of Hurricane Katrina and said you can have temporary protective status in our homeland. So all I'm saying is people are lucky that America has been so gracious. It's just that now America cannot afford to take care of everybody else and our country. And just like the people said, they contributed to the American economy. Some of them have taken to their social media to say we've taken the jobs that Americans won't take, or we work hard, Americans are lazy. And I know you all have heard this. We've all heard it. Americans are lazy. They don't want to work. We take the jobs they don't want to have. Black folk need to pull themselves up by the bootstraps. We're not black. We're this part. We're Caribbean. We're African. We're this. We're that. Well, and they wave their flags very proudly, and they should be proud of the nation from which they come. But they wave their flags very proudly, and they march and they protest against our government and our administration, not realizing that the same administration that had the discretionary authority to allow you to come also have the discretionary authority to say that the time is up. So I wanted to look at this lawsuit that was brought against the United States for saying that temporary protective status was up against, for Haitians and Syrians. This is Mark Wayne Mullen, the United States Secretary of Homeland Security, was the named defendant in several high-profile Supreme Court cases. Because what they do is they overstay their time or overstay their visas, or they come and when it's about time for them to go home because the work permits may have run out or the visa may have run out, they take the government to court. So there were several court cases. The most notable lawsuit is Mullen versus Doe. It was consolidated with Trump versus Myatt, in which the Supreme Court ruled on the termination of temporary protective status. Termination. It ends it. The June 25th, 2026, 6-3 Supreme Court decision in Mullen versus Doe ruled that the temporary protective status, or TPS, statute bars judicial review of non-constitutional challenges brought by Haitians and Syrian nationals against the Department of Homeland Security's termination of their protection. So they brought a lawsuit against the Department of Homeland Security, both the Haitians and the Syrian nationals. You see what they don't say United States citizens, they say foreign nationals, Haitian nationals, Syrian nationals. They're not American citizens. They're not, you either American and sovereign or you're a United States citizen. These aren't citizens. The ruling cleared the way for the DHS to end, or Department of Homeland Security to completely end protection for roughly 350,000 Haitians and 6,000 Syrians. Now, here's what the plaintiff, the temporary protective status termination, says. Here are the plaintiffs. Nationals from Syria and Haiti sue under the Administrative Procedure Act and the Constitution, arguing that the terminations were racially motivated and procedurally flawed. What's interesting is that they love to talk about race. They'll say that the Trump administration is being racist rather than say the American people were gracious enough to accept us. The United States government was gracious enough to allow us to come here on temporary protective status. We've had a good life here. We've created businesses. We've made babies. We've done a whole lot. We've gotten government benefits and aid while the American people suffered. They had to deal with all these influx of immigrants coming from the Caribbean, from the African continent, from the Middle East, from the Asian continent. They had people come in from H-1B with H-1B visas to work. They had F-1 visas, the student visas, so students can study abroad and then they would never leave. They had instead of saying we're so gracious that we had the opportunity, they're saying the Trump administration is racist. And then some of them will then take to the NAACP, the National Advancement for Colored People, National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. They'll go to them and all these other nonprofit organizations and churches and say, fight with us. And they'll go to the Black Greek societies, and they'll go to the Boule and the other secret societies and other NGOs or churches and nonprofit organizations and say, fight with us. The government is racist. But is this about race, or is this about protecting America and making sure America is first? Because America is for Americans. We've been very gracious. We've stood with a lot of people and protested. We've spoken on their behalf, but what's happening now is the indigenous people here, classified as Black Americans, African American, Negro color, whatever you want to call them, copper color, they're saying we're delineating from everybody because everybody has had to have tried to tether themselves to the American people, including white women. Caucasian women tethered themselves to the minority class of African American women and African American people. People from abroad, migrants and immigrants, legals and illegals, tether themselves to the Black Americans who are the indigenous autochthonous people here that are the prisoners of war and say, hey, fight for us, fight with us. We're with you. We're one of you. We're minorities. But it didn't work this time. This is the Supreme Court ruling. And just as an aside, the nonprofit organizations get with them like the NAACP, like, I'm not for reparations. I'm for restorative justice, restoration. Don't give me my 20 acres and a mule. You can get off my land. You can give me my access to my birth certificate bonds, which I'm going to have anyway, because I've already commanded, it's already in the works. But I'm saying that's what you can do. I don't know. I don't need 40 acres and a mule. I need my land because I have blood right ties to the land. And we need our treaties restored with the people that we invited here. We didn't, Americans didn't invite all these people here. The United States incorporated. The faithful government invited people here. And now the same government that invited them here and gave them citizenship status or opportunities by being immigrants on temporary protected status, that same government that gave can take away. But the Supreme Court ruling says that Justice Alito, Samuel Alito, writing for the majority, concluded that the TPS, temporary protective status, explicitly precludes courts from reviewing the Secretary of Homeland Security's non-constitutional decision regarding TPS. The courts have nothing to do with what the Secretary of Homeland Security decides. The courts have operated treasonously and outside of their jurisdiction. They work for the British Accredited Bar Association, the British Accredited Registry, and the British Crown. They do not work for we the people, which is why the Constitution for our Republic said you cannot have a title of nobility and work for we the people. They don't work for us. That's why they have no jurisdiction and no authority of what the Secretary of Homeland Security decides regarding TPS. The court found equal protection claims were unlikely to succeed, reversing lower court injunctions. So it doesn't matter that the lower courts decided that the Trump administration cannot send people home. The higher courts, the Supreme Court, said he has the authority to do so. As Mindful Music said, I traveled and lived in Europe over 17 years. You go through customs, you keep walking, or you go to jail. This is the world's biggest coup d'etat with the help of others. And these people are going to military tribunals. So President Trump basically said, go home. Like, we're glad that you're proud of your country. Basically what he said, you wave your flags proudly here. You got opportunities. You can use those opportunities home. You can use the money that you got here, which many of them did, and send it home. But did they send it home to clean up the corruption? Did they send the money home to actually affect major change? I don't know. But what President Trump is saying is their homelands are pretty stable. There's no more civil war. The Syrians came. The Syrians, yes, they came here in the amount over 6,100 in 2012 because they were having civil war. But the civil war is over. So if the reason for you coming here was because you had civil war, now that it's over, what's the reason you can't go back? I'm just trying to get an understanding. And if you had a natural disaster in your homeland in Haiti, but it's over, why can't you go back home? Because see, African Americans, which are the indigenous people here, we're delineating. Because before people were like, we're all one. We got to stick together. I mean, in terms of skin complexion. But what has happened is now you have people coming here that disrespects us, talks about us, say how proud they are to be from their homelands as a foreign national. Okay, so if they overstay their time here and temporary protective status is over, that means you're illegal. Now you're going to get into a gray area. Not It's not even gray, because if you're illegal, you get deported after you go to jail, as somebody said in the comment section. So basically, there's a Trump win, that people that were here on temporary protective status must go back home. And all those people that wanted to fight for everybody else's rights rather than America, everybody else's privileges, because they don't have rights, they have privileges. Everybody, all these organizations that wanted to fight for them can save their energy and their money to fight for America. That would be nice. That would be a pleasant change for once. So earlier when I was reporting on the immigration, I said people don't realize that President Trump actually deported more legal immigrants than illegal immigrants. And people were asking, how can he do that if somebody's here legally? That's egregious. He's racist. We're trying to prove to you all he's racist. Well, I'll help you. It doesn't matter if people are here legally or not. First of all, did they come over legally? And then some of them came over here illegally, and then they now have legal status because they sought asylum, right? But how did you get here? Did you come here on a visa, a legal visa, and then you overstayed and you sought asylum, or you changed your status? Okay, that's in question. How did you come here? Was it legal or illegal? You might be legal now, but you weren't in the beginning. Then that's why he sent some of those people home. Secondly, he sent a bunch of legal people here, immigrants here, who committed a crime. He sent them back home. Thirdly, when you get down to the nitty gritty, what's legal is not lawful. So it doesn't matter if you're legal. We really couldn't care less, honestly. And this is what people do not know. Lawyers are not going to tell you. Judges are not going to tell you. Mainstream media is not going to tell you that legal means nothing when it comes to our republic, our lawful government, because what's legal is based on statutes, codes, policies, and such of the United States Incorporated, which is an illegal, unlawful, treasonous entity. And even if they weren't illegal and treasonous, they're defunct, as the Department of Treasury stated in their report September 2025. The federal government is bankrupt, insolvent, can't pay their debts, so they can't say anything, and they're being systematically dismantled. But even if they were in place, we know that that's an unlawful entity that incorporated itself in 1871 as a nonprofit religious organization. They usurped authority from our lawful republic. Our lawful republic is based on constitutional law. It grants laws to the sovereign nationals of America. It could care less about what the United States Incorporated has done, because that entity is a fake, faux, erroneous group of bloodline families that usurped authority from our lawful republic and incorporated themselves as a nonprofit religious organization. You can vote for whoever you want all day long. They have an electoral college where they decide who's going to be president. And they do. But in case that wasn't enough for the people, that this is an unlawful entity that incorporated itself in 1871 as a nonprofit religious organization, how about the fact that the Supreme Court of the United States overturned the Chevron doctrine in June of 2024? And that doctrine had given the United States Incorporated expansive powers, and said that the United States Incorporated, the government, can do whatever they want, come up with whatever statutes, codes, policies that they desire, because they're the experts. And if you tried to challenge them in court, the court judges would send the decision right back to the United States Incorporated. Any 447 of those agencies that call themselves government agencies would have more power than we, the people, because the courts would say they are the experts. Therefore, you and I were forced to do whatever the government said in all 447 agencies, including the FBI, the CIA, CPS, IRS, etc., etc. On my post section or community section, of the Dr. Kia Pruitt Show on YouTube, I actually have a link to the list of all 447 government agencies. But the Supreme Court of the United States overturned the Chevron doctrine, which gave the government expansive, unlimited powers and said they are the experts, therefore everybody has to abide by them. Now that government is being dismantled. That's why we're under a partial government shutdown right now. That's why people are losing their jobs at every level of the government. This is even why corporations are closing. They were getting funded by the government. This is why a lot of people are being deported. They were getting funded by the government. They were getting welfare. They were getting food stamps. They were getting passports. They were getting green cards. They were getting work permits. They were getting loans to have businesses. They were given credits based off our social security number. And this is something I just found out because I was like, how are they setting up bank accounts? Now, according to Trump's new laws, you have to prove that you're a citizen before you can open up a bank account. But you got people here that are undocumented, even illegal, even some committing crimes have a bank account and laundering money. And I was like, how are they doing this without a social security number? What I didn't realize is that they're given a temporary social security number. My question is, whose social security number are they given? Because that social security number is attached to an account at a central bank in America, which means that there is a trust attached to that account. So who are they getting? Whose social security numbers? Maybe it's ours. Maybe it's our deceased relatives. Okay, but it's somebody's. And that may be unbeknownst to them. But the government knows, and the government now has to pay recompense to we the people. So President Trump is saying, go home. What's that? Mustang Music says, taking the labor jobs and construction jobs and driving big trucks, everybody. Cadillacs, Rolls Royce, rolling their eyes at us with no license plates. Oh man, in this area, the police department is under investigation. Woo, thank you for saying that. When I tell you, people that come to these lands are so disrespectful, I'm not saying everybody, but a lot of them. And they love to target Black people, people classified as Black, the indigenous people. I have to stop saying that word, Black, so-called African Americans. Now they want to tether themselves to, oh, we're one and the same. You didn't say that yesterday. Before you were getting deported, you were better than Black Americans. We're lazy. We need to pull ourselves up by the bootstraps. We remember. And it's not just the so-called colored people that was said. It was everybody. Okay, I shouldn't say everybody. It was a lot of different people. They tell you that they are briefed when they come to America, some before they come to America, stay away from so-called Black Americans. But they'll swagger jack you. They'll take your style, your culture, your music, try to be, your behavior, your slang, but don't you dare call them Black. In fact, their status is considered white. And that doesn't matter to us one way or the other. What matters is that temporary means temporary, so their temporary protective status has ended. The Supreme Court is the Supreme Court on the land here in America. It's interesting that the NAACP is pushing back against President Trump and the Supreme Court. But what have they done for me lately? Ooh, yeah. What have they done for us lately? I'm talking about these nonprofit religious organizations and 501c3s and NAACP. What have they done for any of us? Some of the churches have done some things, but as a whole, what are these nonprofit 501c3s doing for us to guarantee that we have restorative justice, to heal the families? As a whole, why do we still have drug addiction? Why do we still have broken up families? Why do we still have high divorce rates? Why do we still have poverty in our communities if these 501c3s were supposed to be here to help us? Speaking of families that are in flux, I have a very heartbreaking story. I want you to see me. I have a very heartbreaking story for you all tomorrow, Monday, June 29th, 2026 at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I have a heartbreaking story of a woman that I met really online. She's an associate of some of my good friends, like Chief Mack. She's a friend of Chief Rod Hayes. She's a friend of some of us here. I am calling on all clan mothers, all tribal leaders, all family members, all clan fathers, all chiefs. I am calling on everybody. I'm going to put out the call tomorrow morning as well to come to listen to our report, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I have a woman whose daughter went missing. She didn't know where her baby was. Her daughter was an adult, though. She tried to give her space to let her live her life, but she was scared. Her whole family couldn't find her. When they found her, this is a sad story, and I'm going to make sure I respect the family. I kind of keep the integrity of the family. When they found the woman, she had 2 children that were in her home, malnourished, and she just wasn't herself. They life flighted one of the daughters to the hospital, and the daughter passed away in the hospital. The other is still living. These are babies, small children. The mother they arrested on site. It was evident and obvious that the mother's been struggling emotionally, psychologically, possibly physically, and financially. She was trying to manage things as much as she could. But when she realized that she was in trouble, it was a little too late. The news, mainstream media, got a hold of the story, spread it abroad about how bad of a mother she is, locked her up. One child passed away, you know, and people just went roughshod with the story instead of trying to get to the crux of the story. What is really the issue here? So I'm going to bring her on tomorrow because the story went viral. I just happened to run across a post on Chief Rod Hayes' page where he was saying, telling her, "I'm going to call you. My spirit's been telling me to check on you." And she said, "Thank you, because I'm all alone." And when I went to her page and I saw how she's a grandmother, a young grandmother, not even 50. Her daughter is locked up, incarcerated. One of the grandchildren passed away. Another one is, malnourished, and the family's coming together, trying to figure out, how did this happen? What happened? What's going on? But she and I talked because I was like, I'm not going to let this happen. I know somebody that I know of, through my community. But yet mainstream media took the story and ran away with it and locking up people. And okay, but what is the bottom line? What is the problem here? And as I talked to the young lady who's incarcerated's mom, we were talking about the issue and the problem with mental health and how our young people are struggling financially, economically. They're struggling psychologically and emotionally, and they have nobody to turn to. So I'm going to bring her here tomorrow at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to get to the bottom of this, and we're going to talk about mental health. And once I started talking to her and I started sharing some of her story with other people, but keeping the family's name and, integrity and privacy intact, I can't tell you how many people said, "Dr. Pruitt, I am struggling. My family's being torn apart. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough food. I'm ashamed to go back home. We live in a cancel culture where you're supposed to just cut off everybody, and we can't find jobs." So many, it's men going through it, women going through it, children going through it. And now that we're in crisis and people are being locked up and our children, unfortunately, are slipping through the cracks, something has to be done. All of a sudden, it's hitting mainstream media news. And it's baby after baby passing away because the community is not intact. And I'm not talking about the Black community. I mean, the community, the collective, the human family is not coming together. So when President Donald Trump said, "We got to save America," I'm getting with that. Yes, I am. I support that 100%. And I support people returning to their homelands and using the information they learned here, the job skills, whatever benefits they got from here, to help make their countries great again. Because imagine coming from a third world country. They call them developing countries. I call them third world. Some of them are still third world. I've been in countries that look like fourth world countries. I've been in some countries. I'm like, good God, no sanitation, poor sanitation. I've been in, I, I've heard of countries where people are eating mud pies. My daughter's been to countries where they actually fry mop pieces, the part you mop the floors with, fry them so it can taste like a dish. So all the people that ran here, and they will tell you, listen to them closely when they speak, how they had to, when they came here, pay the cartel that got them over here. So they have violence, they have drugs, they have poverty, all that over there. But we have the same thing here that we must deal with. So on tomorrow at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I implore you all to come and listen to this story because it went viral. Mainstream media got it. It's in like the gossips. It's in the big news. And we're not here for the gossip. We're here to get to the bottom of the issue. Why are our women struggling with children alone? Why are we okay with pushing for families to be separated? Why are we going to the government to settle our family matters and our family issues? Like we can't come up with those decisions and rituals and rights and, I don't know, solutions ourselves. So I'm calling on everybody to come listen to this story, because once you hear it and you start talking about it, you're going to have a lot of people to come forward and say, I'm struggling too. And you know what? Mental health is something that we don't talk about enough. Oh, thank you, I am. The cat's meow says, my oldest son lost his life. Mental health sheriffs took him out 4 years ago, and I miss him so bad. Oh, I'm so sorry, sister. God bless you, I am. The cat's meow. I'm so sorry. They don't really have the wherewithal. The police officers, sheriffs, they have a military mindset. They don't know how to deal with people with mental health issues, and some of them don't care. This is why when people were pushing for defund the police, President Trump said, wait a minute, not just yet, because that was during 2020. He was like, we got to weed out the bad apples, and we have to learn to stop sending in the police into places where people are struggling with their mental health. We need to send in counselors, social workers, tribal leaders, chiefs, mothers, family members. Thank you for sharing your story, sister. There's somebody close to me who was a U.S. Marshal. We don't talk as much now as we used to. Police in his small town in Florida. His brother is well known in the whole little city because he had mental health issues. The brother went to the hospital like, I'm sick, I need help, I need help. Everybody knew him. The hospital staff was like, wait, we're going to get somebody. He's like, no, please, I need help right now. The police is like coming in there with guns drawn. Shut up, sit down. And some of the doctors and nurses like, wait, he has a mental health issue. And they shot him dead in a hospital. And they knew who he was. They know his bloodline. This is it. A lot of this is a bloodline war against we the people. I keep saying this battle looks like it's a battle with flesh and blood, but we wrestle not against flesh and blood. We are wrestling against powers, against spiritual wickedness, against the rulers of darkness and high places. These are beings that are not human, that are in skin suits fighting against your bloodline. They know who your family members are. They track you by the stars. They track you by your birthday. This is why back in the day, some certain communities didn't send their children to school because they know their birthday and social security number. And they're like, nope, they can track the bloodline. This is why we didn't send people to the hospitals, because they know your bloodline. This is why so many people don't come out of the hospitals. This is why people with mental health issues don't want to go to the hospitals, because they know they're targeted and they don't get the help that they need. Meanwhile, the system tells everybody stay in their place. People have a right to privacy. Mothers, don't tell your children what to do. Put them out at 18. Fathers, you don't have a right to have anything to do. The only thing you're good for is money. The only thing you're good for is paying child support. But I asked a family member today when they were when somebody was like, the only thing a man is good for is money. I said, ask the children how they feel about that. Ask the children if the only thing they need their father for is a dollar. Ask them, would you rather have a dollar or you rather have your daddy's presence? Because we are living in a society that has completely destroyed the family structure and the community, and we are suffering as a result. While we're rescuing everybody else and rescuing the world and bringing in an influx of migrants, immigrants, both legal and illegal, we need to deal with home matters first. Because a man that doesn't take care of his own home is less than an infidel, worse than an infidel, worse than an unbeliever. Because if you care about somebody else more than you do your own bloodline, there is something that's amiss, meaning there's something wrong. So tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, come, bring your stories, and let's rally around our sister and support her. Now she's 48. She has to deal with her daughter being in jail. She has to deal with burying her granddaughter who passed away from malnourishment. She has to deal with raising the other grandchild. She has to deal with family, saying certain things that are not always kind. But when your children are grown, there's only so much you can do, especially when you live in a culture and a society that says, now that you're 18, you just put them out. And you live in a society where the school is programming them, the music is programming them, you have things like technologies like the voice of God that literally says things and puts certain frequencies in the air that sends messages to people. This stuff is real. But conspiracy aside, we're about to bury a 1-year-old while the mom is in prison, not even realizing fully what has happened. It could be postpartum depression. It could be depression. She was out struggling by herself. This is why I keep telling women that single, independent woman, I can do it all without a man, I don't need a man rhetoric needs to stop. Because if the Most High has granted you a relatively gentleman, he don't have to be perfect, good enough for you to lay down on your back with an open spread eagle to him. And I don't mean to be so blatant. If the Most High give you anybody that's a semblance of good and decent, usually it's in our best interest to work with him. And if he's not worth working with, then at least let the man have a relationship with his children. And the brothers, I'm encouraging the men from all nationalities, all races, all lands, all ethnic backgrounds. Men, train up your men in the way that they should go. Teach the young boys certain rites of passages so they can understand a woman, love a woman, take care of their children, provide for the children. And ladies, let's teach our young ladies that you don't need to leave home before marriage, or if you don't want to get married, before you're emotionally, physically, psychologically, and financially ready. You don't have to go out just because you're 18, 19, 20, 21. What are we doing? The part of the brain that deals with making decisions doesn't even develop until you're 25 years old. But the whole system has been constructed against the family structure. Come with your stories tomorrow at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't care where you're from. We got to get to the bottom of this. We have to stop the gender wars, the fighting back and forth. And as much as I'm a woman and I love women and I care about women, I support families, not women above men, not men above women. Because what I see is new wave packaging of patriarchy, really, and feminism, new wave packaging of feminine and patriarchy by telling the women, you don't need a man, you're better than a man. And I get the fact that we want women to be acknowledged, but teaching women that they can have it and do it all on their own that's not the play, because our young ladies are struggling. Now, they might have pride and not want to tell you, but it's hard to raise children out here by yourself. And now that the government has run out of money, that means no more welfare, no more food stamps, no more Section 8. Hear me. All these benefits that were called entitlement benefits, they are almost non-existent. You have to work for them now, and they're phasing out. Who's going to take care of the children? Who's going to take care of the women? Who's going to provide for the women? What about the women that can't go out and work, the ones that want to be single and independent but can't go out to work? They need a husband or a companion. I'm not saying you have to go through the government. I wouldn't advise it to go through the government, because now when you go through the government to get a marriage license, they rule you, control you, tell you how long, you know, if you get divorced, how long the parent that's not in the home can visit, and when they can and cannot visit. You got to divide your assets. You have a complete stranger running your life, because now they have jurisdiction of your relationship, your assets, and your children. So if there's a way you can get married or have a relationship, have common law marriage, or have a relationship according to your tribal ways or your custom, your nationality, that would be wise. And then if they don't get along or they need help, the whole community needs to come together to support these families. I am not a proponent of people struggling by themselves, because sometimes it gets too hard. And you know what happened when people give up? They give up. They stop eating. They can't get out of bed. How many people, if we were honest with ourselves, suffer from depression at some point in their lives? I'll go. Where you just couldn't get out of bed, where you just didn't know how you were going to pay your bills. Maybe you went through bereavement. Like when my husband passed, and I know the hospital had a hand in taking him out during right around COVID time, and wouldn't allow me in the room to see him, and forced certain things in his body against my will, and forced him on a ventilator. And I kept fighting and fighting against a whole establishment, and I broke down. How many of you have lost family members due to COVID and or divorce? How many people been through divorce? And imagine now going through the struggles of life with financial problems on top of that, and maybe not even knowing how to reach out to your family members. Cancel culture is very, very dangerous. So I'm begging you, I'm imploring you, family, to let's do all we can to bring our families back together. There's more I can say on this new wave of feminism that I see. And I'm not talking about, you know, let me see how I can say this. Yes, if people are on their own and their relationships didn't work out, we have to help them. And sometimes they may leave the house and go abroad or go somewhere else, across another state, to find opportunities. But it's best when you can align yourself with your family and your community. And there will always be somebody, or often be somebody, say, I can't work with my family. No, my family just that. What do you want to struggle by yourself? Because you can either align yourself with blood, or you can find like-minded people and let them be your family. But depending on the government is not the play, because the government is not your friend. The government giveth and the government taketh away. Excuse me. Speaking of family, the brother needed help. They shot him, the police. They used their blood. These are blood rituals, sacrifices, all type of things that they're doing. Or what you say, why are they blocking what you say? I don't know what you said, darling. Wait a minute. My daughter needs me. 1 second. Children, Auntie said, come outside quickly. I apologize for that. My daughter called me. I need to help her. Got grandchildren trying to get my attention. Don't let anybody bully you into not being there for your family members. Okay. 11 years single, my choice. Trauma from the last relationship. Yeah. And this is what the young lady and I talked about when the one that lost her daughter. Well, her daughter is actually locked up. I'm sorry, incarcerated, and she's got to bury her granddaughter. I said, what we need is we need the men to help the men, to help, because you're having a lot of situations where people that are in relationships are abusing their power. Some men are abusing their power, and then you have situations where women don't know how to deal with masculinity, because you have a lot of women that aren't raised with their fathers in their home. So if we can have the men to focus on the men and help, do uh, rites of passage programs for them, it would be beautiful. And we can help the young ladies. This is what it used to be. And then the community can support the family, and the family can support the couples and then the individuals. So I really didn't mean to go off on that tangent, but this is a story that really touched my heart, because a lot of people are suffering from mental health. And I don't want to make this about, men are this way and women are that way. I'm talking about we're all suffering in some kind of way or have suffered. Depression is nothing to play with. I've been depressed. And sometimes you can be depressed and not even know it. You can Sometimes you think you're okay, but you just don't feel like getting out of bed. And before you know it, 3 or 4 days have passed. Sometimes you're like, I don't feel like eating. And before you know it, you've lost 10, 20 pounds. Sometimes you can't get up and go to work. And oftentimes, right after you have a baby, your companion may not understand that you just gave a whole life. You were at the doorfront, the forefront of the doorfront of death when you're delivering a baby. You're right on the doorsteps of death when you're delivering a baby. So you raised a whole human being for 9 months. They're sucking all of your energy out of your body while you're working around the house, maintaining your relationships, whether it's with a man, woman, or your family, working an outside job or doing a business. That's a whole lot. We were not designed to live like this. So you're dealing with that for 9 or 10 months, because really 40 weeks is 10 months. Then you get on the table, which is against your body, because you should be squatting, it's against your culture. You're dealing with doctors, many of whom are foreign nationals, and some are here on, we already talked about this, medical degrees that are fake, doctors that didn't even take medical classes, some of them. And the ones that did, a lot of them are males, so they don't know female anatomy because they don't have a vagina. Okay, let's be real, or fallopian tubes, and never carried a baby. So they're putting their hands up inside you, pulling your baby's head out, pushing you, pushing, yelling at you, whatever they do, injecting all this stuff in your body. And some of the women that come over here to deliver babies are not your bloodline, so they really don't give a care about your life. They just doing their job. And the ones that do care can only do what they're taught to do. So you go through that trauma. You go through the trauma of them slapping your baby on the bottom, which is not right, according to many cultures. Thank you for bringing me that drink. I love you. You go through them injecting your baby right out of the womb and giving you all these commands. Do this, do this. She needs that. Do you want them to do this? Do you want the baby to have that? Do you want to sign this document? And you just gave birth to a whole human being that you carried for almost a year and had the weight of the world on your shoulders. See, many cultures would actually let the woman withdraw while she's carrying a child, withdraw from society. And then the ladies and the mothers, they would cater to her, feed her, take her off her feet, give her a break from the children. That's the way we used to do things. But now she got to work, whether she got a husband or not, because of the economy. That's why families need to be together, pull their resources together, and practice group economics. like the foreign nationals that come on our land and brag about how they got it together. They can practice group economics because they bring their wealth, if they have some, and the government aid, and they gain access to our trust, and they're living on our lands, which was stolen and given to them and allowed them to, stay there. So, yeah, they practice their cultural ways over here and tell us we need to do better while we're struggling. I'm going to always take it back to that, or often. So then the woman has to see the umbilical cord cut, which is not right. The child is supposed to be absorbing all the nutrients and ancestral memories from that umbilical cord. This is why children come here now. They don't know what their purpose is, what they're supposed to do, because all that information, the ancestral information, was coming through that umbilical cord as well as the nourishment. These doctors cut the cord. That's what they're trying to do. It's supposed to stay there until it falls off naturally. So the child is traumatized, the mama is traumatized. The doctor's only doing what they were taught to do. The nurse is doing what they it's confused. Now that child grows up traumatized, maybe for the rest of their life, because they didn't finish getting the ancestral information, the past life memories, or the nourishment that they needed. Then if you're a boy, they haul you off and circumcise you, mean they cut off part of your penis. And in Jewish culture, they put wine in their mouth, or alcohol in their mouth, and they suck the blood from the penis itself. So what are they doing in the hospitals with the blood in the foreskin? You want to know why some of these men are traumatized? Because they were traumatized at birth with the circumcision, with no anesthesia. And they condition us through religion to say this is what God's people would do. The Bible says you have to circumcise them, right? Because they got that from another culture. They wrote it in the Bible, and since we're a Christian country, a lot of us had our male children circumcised. Now the men are traumatized from the umbilical cord being cut, traumatized with the first face they saw when they came out this world was some stranger that wasn't the doulas, or it wasn't the mothers, it was everybody else but their parents. And it's in a cold environment, and they getting slapped on the bottom, and they getting injected with a bunch of stuff in their eyes and in their body, and tagged on the feet, and tagged on the arms, and tagged on the leg, and told that it's natural for the baby to scream. Let the baby scream. So they're traumatized. Then they get circumcised. Then you have a bunch of strangers, nurses, many of them are good nurses, but cleaning and wiping and handling child, and the child don't even know who in the heck you are. Think about this type of trauma. And if you have a circumcision, that means there's a foreskin from your penis has been removed. So now you're desensitized. You got everything, the diaper rubbing against it, your training pants running against it, your pants, jeans, underwear rubbing against it. So you're desensitized to touch. So now when you're making love to your woman, you need to bang, bang, bang in order to feel a sensation, because you can't get pleasure because you got circumcised instead of having the foreskin to cover that part of you. All we had to do, if we were taught correctly, was teach our sons to pull the foreskin back and cleanse their phallus properly. But instead, we took on the ways of the heathen, which is really the ways of these Elohim, or so-called elites, from which the word Elohim derived, extraterrestrial beings that are masking themselves in skin suit. It is their culture to cut off their phallus, suck the blood, use the blood in the foreskin for their life, for their medicines, and they pass that on to the rest of the people. We're all traumatized. Then you got environmental factors, pollution, all these wires and towers and data centers and all this stuff. And then high prices and inflation and wars and rumors of wars and rhetoric and propaganda and music with low vibrational frequencies. And then when one of our family members get in trouble, we just say, you got to do better. You got to get up and go to work. You got to do this, not realizing that it's just too much. And some people break, family. And if we were honest with ourselves, a lot of us have broken before. Somebody said, give them back all their religion and all their stuff. It's time to take over now. We got this from here. The American people, we're here. We got this. Oh, hi, Sister Janine. Our moderator's in the house. Somebody left after getting in the hospital. Her leg was broken in 3 places. Her family came and got her. Mm. So family, yeah, yeah, yeah. They put the blood and the foreskin from the phallus through their when they do the circumcisions. They put it in medicine. Some of them eat it. Um, they put it in sunscreen. They put it in all type of things. Absolutely, as well as the afterbirth, the placenta, all that. They're using all that in their medicine. They're using that in their rituals. They eat it, they drink it, as well as the ones that come from the A word, the abortion, abortions. They use that for themselves. While they tell us that we should use this as a birth control method. We 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 have to get away from their culture. Absolutely. So that's right. They use the stem cells. Thank you. They use the stem cells from the placenta, from the abortions, the aborted baby. And even when you have a miscarriage and they scrape the womb with the DNC, they use those cells. They don't just throw them away. They use that. So going through all of this, as well as high inflation and trying to work and trying to maintain a relationship and hearing all these online beefs and men and women fighting um, against each other. It's the same way in Ireland, Freedom says. I'm so sorry to hear that. It's just too much, family. So I'm imploring you to let's get away from this sick system. We got to get away from the sick system when we have to support our families. A lot of people are suffering, family. And when I say mental health, people are depressed. People have high anxiety, means they feel anxious and nervous. Sometimes, you ever feel really jittery and you don't understand why? It's because your central nervous system can't deal with all the stress of the economy, stress of the bad news, being overstimulated through social media, watching all these social media reels and everything going by so quickly, and the laws changing and legality, statutes, codes, geopolitics, music. You're being flooded with a lot of information, a lot of sensationalism, a lot of energy. So your nervous system, your central nervous system, literally starts to respond and you become anxious, or what people will call nervous. And some people have an illness, or maybe it's not ill. Some people have a condition where they hear voices. It could be um, it could be ancestral voices talking to them and they don't know how to communicate. It could be demonic forces in their heads. It could be that they're just so brilliant. I don't know if y'all saw the movie back in the day, maybe 20 years ago, called A Beautiful Mind. They thought this man was crazy because he heard all these voices, but the man was working all type of high complex math problems. You remember A Beautiful Mind? And what was happening was he had so much information, ancestral wisdom, past lives, and information in his head teaching him how to work solutions, that it was coming faster than what his human body could process it. But he was brilliant. He wasn't crazy to put him up in psychological mental institutions. We got to get our family members the help they deserve. Some of them don't need to be in prison. They need help. They need love. They need understanding. They need understanding, overstanding. They need compassion. They need where are our natural healers? Where are our herbalists? Where are our family counselors? Sometimes you can go to a therapist and you come out worse than that, because the word therapist is the rapist. The rapist spells therapist. While I support psychology and the study of psychology, I know that whole discipline was infiltrated by males who did not have the ancestral wisdom that we have. I'm talking about indigenous people, and males that weren't even human. Look up the history of psychology in America. So the rapist, the therapist, Many of them push for separation of families. They call everybody a narcissist. Everybody's not a narcissist. Cutting off people is only for people that have pathological problems that you don't know how to deal with or can't help. So you distance yourself so that you can heal yourself and protect your energy. But it's not, you don't just ascribe narcissism to a person just because y'all don't get along or because you think this person is controlling, or maybe they are controlling. That still doesn't mean there's a narcissist. We've gotten to assist into a situation where everybody's a narcissist. We want to classify everybody as a narcissist. Every man is evil. Every man is bad. Every woman's out to get you. It's just wild. So a lot of counselors and therapists, or the rapists and psychiatrists, pushing meds because the pharmaceutical industry says push certain medicines. And unless you study the medicine and know which one works with your biochemistry, it's hard to trust the medicine. So some people with psychological issues won't take the medicine because they've been over sedated. I'm not against chemicals or chemistry or herbs at all. What I'm for is using the ones that are a good match or the correct match for a bloodline and a blood type. And the only person that can really decide which is the right one for your bloodline is your bloodline elders. And if you don't have any ancestral memory that will speak to you, the shamanic, was it shaman practice? What you call them? Shaman practices we used to have that they now call witch doctors and say, they're crooked and wicked. A lot of them know the naturopathic ways. Doulas, herbalists, shamans, women, mothers, fathers, priests, priestesses. I'm not talking about the ones that's caught up in religious dogma. I'm talking about the ones that understand your bloodline, your ancestral makeup, your DNA, your blood type. We need to bring all that back to cure the family because the family is in flux. We don't want it to get to the point where people are passing away and being incarcerated when all they needed was support. So what I'm going to do tomorrow is I'm going to bring the sister on at 7:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to tell her story about how her daughter went missing. And when she found her daughter was not in the best mental state to know what was going on or to care for her children. And we don't know if somebody slipped the daughter something, because this is another thing. When you don't have the family together, you have people that are getting into relationships that may not be good for them. But society tells you, mothers and fathers, don't get involved in what your children do. Let them do what they want. They know what's best for them. Not on my watch. I've gotten flack all my adult life for being very involved in my children's lives. You think I give 2 cents? There's a reason, as they say, they call me two. The number 2. There's a reason they call me 2. It's because I ain't the one. I'm not impacted at all by the guilt trips, the disrespect. You need to let them children go. These children are grown. You need to let them out at 18. You need to stay out of their business, stay out of their relationships. No, because if you listen to me and you follow the direction of this bloodline and this family and make sure you choose somebody that can get along with this family culture, then you are more likely to be successful. But if you go against the family culture and structure and you follow the foreigners, and when I mean foreigners, I don't mean immigrants, I mean the government that doesn't have your best interest at heart, or society, you follow them over what I know is best for you, then you're destined to fail. And then when you fall on your face or make a mistake, you're going to come back home to mom and dad. Make no mistake. My children needed both, even though we didn't get along all the time, mom, dad, and I. He was more compassionate, understanding. I was the strict one. I'm sure you can see that. I was the strict. You're going to do whatever I say, period. You're going to do what I say. Dad would be like, my husband would be like, Key, let them children live. Let them breathe a little bit. Okay? Come on. But they needed that balance. So we need to bring the families back together. I'm not about arguing a bit. I don't argue patriarchy against versus matriarchy, matriarchy against patriarchy. I said that on somebody's platform, and from what I'm hearing by the telephone calls I'm getting, I'm stirring up something, because I'm about harmonic relationships, harmony, synergy, the family being restored, the masculine and feminine principles and entities working together in unity and harmony. And it's going to have to start at home. It's going to have to start with you. It's going to have to start with me. That's just Dr. Kia Pruitt. That's what I do for my family. We had curfew. I had curfew in college. My mom allowed me to go to a Christian college. At the Christian college, you had curfew. There was no public display of affection. That was 1986. Berea College, no holding hands, no kissing on campus, no boys going to girls' dorms, no girls going to boys' dorm. You would get suspended from college and have your tuition and your scholarship yanked if you were caught in a male's dormitory or a female's dormitory if you were a male. That's how strict they were. And you had to work 10 to 20 hours to help offset your tuition for school at Berea College. And you know what? Most of us graduated, whether we stayed at Berea College in Kentucky and graduated, or we transferred out to another college because of the foundation that was set. We did well and we graduated. And most of us got married in college or right after college because they were very strict. Man, woman, and child. Asar, Aset, Heru. Father, Mother, Holy Spirit. Father, Mother, Child, excuse me. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is the mother. They don't like talking about mother. And because these beings in power, I'm not going to say the patriarchy, I'm saying these beings, so-called elite that are in power, wanted to eliminate the mother and suppress the mother from the Bible and from the culture, from religion, and suppress her so much and oppress her so much that when she come out swinging, now she's going overboard and she's trying to supplant the man and take over the man. No, I'm about the laws of nature. One of the 24 principles of the universe, one of 20 universal laws, is the law of gender. There's a feminine principle and a masculine principle. There's feminine energy and masculine energy. There's a male and a female. And in order to have balance, they both must work together synergistically in harmony. That's what Mama Kia is about. Now the dorms are co-ed. I agree. We need balance. So let's stop. Good evening, my love. Let's stop pushing our males out, saying patriarchy, this patriarchy is bad. Men are bad. Men are not good for anything. Men are what I'm decentering male. That's not healthy for the children or the family structure or the community. Because if we all decentered from the men, let's be honest, and they took away the jobs that we women were doing. No way. Let's say they took away, if we decentered the men, they took away the jobs the men were doing. Who's going to build the infrastructure? Okay, some of the women will figure it out, but some of the women are giving birth. Some of the women don't want to be out there heavy lifting. Why are we trying to decenter men? Maybe we need to help support the men who have been damaged by what they're calling patriarchy, which is really just a system of evil that was constructed against the whole world. I don't call it patriarchy. I call it evil. Wrestling against spiritual powers, rulers of darkness, extraterrestrial. I don't care what we call it. And I would say for the men, if the men stop focusing on women need to do this, y'all can't do nothing right, y'all this, y'all take everybody to court, y'all aligned with the government, you this, you that. If you keep bantering back and forth and yelling at each other back and forth, how are you going to have harmony? Who's caring about the children while we're arguing online and arguing with bring back the matriarchy, down with patriarchy, we hate men, decenter men, women ain't ish, y'all sided with the government? How is this benefiting the children? How is this benefiting with our families? How is this benefiting the family structure and society? But if we come together and we say we've all played a part in being victims of the system, and we apologize to each other and rebuild, that's what's healthy. Because at the end of the day, the children are struggling. And so are we. I bet you if you looked at the mental health statistics, that's somebody's homework. Somebody look at mental health statistics from 2020 on and see if they've gotten worse what the mental health stats look like, if it's gotten worse since 2020. Because on the show tomorrow at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, when my sister comes on, she's not my biological sister, but she's a part of our human race, human family, and talks about how her daughter, her adult daughter, went missing. When they found her, she didn't have her right, she wasn't well mentally, and her children were malnourished, and now we got to deal with burying a child. I'm talking about the human family, because believe it or not, what affects one affects all. That's another law of the universe, the law of oneness. Everything comes from source, and everything goes back to source. Everything, every insect, every human, every animal, every leaf, every plant, we're all one source. So what impacts one impacts everybody. So if one person is crying and dealing with having to bury her child and dealing with her daughter not being well, it's impacting that family. And so that means that family's impacting another family, and it's just a trickle down effect. And now mainstream media news has taken hold of the story, and it's all over the world. But what she and I talked about is this is an opportunity to come to the Soul Tribe and say, hey, is anybody else suffering mentally? Is anybody else depressed? Is anybody else having anxiety? Because I have a very close friend who told me that schizophrenia is no joke. She said, because I have God and my belief and my higher power, I'm able to have all these voices and still function. And she takes medicine. She said, and I found the right medicine that jives with my biochemistry, and I eat a certain diet. Now I can manage the voices, but I hear several voices all at once. This is real. So let's come together at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow, and let's listen to the sister story and see what we can do with this information to support her and what we can do moving forward to heal the human family. Please. In other news, though, I want to get off that. I don't want this to be sad. The whole world is asking me what's happening financially. Are we going to have CBDCs, central bank digital currencies? Uh, is the government going to have a one world currency and hold us all captive using their currency? And I say no. No, that is not going to be what's allowed to happen. And I'll show you how we know that. Sorry to jump off that one topic, but I got really emotional when I heard the sister's story, and I called her, and I don't know, it was almost like it was happening to me, because then I started talking, and people were from all over with that, people I'm connected with saying, I'm suffering, Kia. I'm glad you said something about this story to me, because they heard about it, went viral. I'm suffering too, people were saying to me, and I don't have anybody to talk to. So we're going to deal with this tomorrow. In financial news, the United States has preemptively banned central bank digital currencies. I've been reporting on this throughout the years that state after state have banned CBDC, central bank digital currencies, at both the states that have done this at the state level, but it's also happened at the federal level. And this is driven by concerns over financial privacy and government surveillance. So that will not be allowed. The one coin, the one world, new world order coin or currency that everybody has to use. In fact, there was a federal ban, a federal executive order, and the subsequent passage of the Anti-Central Bank Digital Currency Surveillance State Act permanently prohibited federal agencies and the Federal Reserve from studying, testing, or issuing out the United States-based CBDC, central bank digital currency. And they banned them from offering direct accounts to individuals. So that's not going to happen. A lot of good things are happening, even though people are struggling and dealing with the economy being crazy. They're dealing with unemployment. They're dealing with propaganda. They're dealing with, music, all this music, bad, negative energy. They're dealing with so much, family. And some people are really struggling mentally and psychologically because they have to go back home. They've been away for so long. They don't know what they're going to do when they go back home. But their governments are willing to take them back. And you have governments that have stepped in and countries that have stepped in and say, if y'all can't go back home, we'll take you. Oh, it's almost dinner time. There was something I wanted to show you all. I don't know what I was going to show you. I don't know what I was going to show you, but there's good news. When the people go back home, their countries will take care of them, and they will be able to eventually access their sovereign wealth fund, because all countries have a sovereign wealth fund or trusts that have been set up to issue out high, what is it? This basic, what's that? Universal high income. Not to be confused with universal basic income. Universal high income is income that each country will issue out to all of their state nationals, so that they can live and survive and thrive. And this is one of the answers to AI, or artificial intelligence taking over jobs. Now we're going to have a surplus, and we're going to have a abundance of materials, abundance of wealth, actually, because AI can do many, many jobs. They can take over hundreds of people's jobs, but the people will have access to their trust and to universal high income. So that's something that foreign nationals that have to leave our lands should look forward to. It's going to happen. But meanwhile, here the government is being downsized because the Supreme Court of the United States overturned the Chevron doctrine, meaning that they limited the powers of the United States government. And the Supreme Court of the United States determined that state-sponsored banks don't have to work with Federal Reserve central banking system anymore. They can issue out their own gold-backed currency. So a lot of good things is happening. And while they're getting rid of and downsizing the government, they're also getting rid of things like property taxes, not just the IRS and income tax, but here in Florida, the Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced just as, and Ron DeSantis, our governor, announced the same thing, that Ron DeSantis's bill to abolish property taxes in Florida has been approved by lawmakers. And he says we need this nationwide. We don't only need it nationwide, it will happen nationwide. It will happen all over the world. I know I've been saying this a long time, but look at where we are now. I've been saying this since 2016, 2017, that we're going to abolish income taxes, we're going to abolish property taxes, we're going to abolish all factions of the government that were a part of the United States Incorporated. We're going to resurrect our republic and restore our republic. We're going to go back to the gold standard. But here we are 10, 11 years later, and we actually see laws being passed to do exactly what we said would happen. So stay encouraged, family. I know it might hurt people or cause some worry for people that are foreign nationals to hear that they have to go back home. But the good news is that you'll be able to contribute to your society in your homelands. My family is here now. It's dinner time, family. And there was something else I wanted to say. Forgive me for, kind of rushing through this. I'm going to leave things in the description section for you. Oh, the last thing is that President Trump said the other day he wasn't signing anything until the Save America Act was passed. I got a text that said the Save America Act was passed. I don't see that online. What I know is that it passed in the House, but it was held up in the Senate. Some people are saying that it passed, but you look it up on Google, it said it has not passed. But the Senate the Senate is held up in the Senate. Here's the current status. Senate leadership, including Majority Leader John Thune, has maintained that the legislation does not have the votes to clear the chamber, leaving the bill largely stalled. So the Save America Act is a bill that requires immigrants or anybody really that wants to vote, you have to prove your citizenship status. But your nonprofit religious organizations and your NAACP and some of these church organizations, they're saying it's not fair to demand that people show their ID to vote. And all we're saying is you have to be a United States citizen. Why? Because voting is a privilege. It's not a right. It's a privilege afforded to people by the United States Incorporated. They're the ones who deem people citizens or chattel property that belongs to and beholden to the United States Incorporated. as citizens or chattel property of the corporation, they gave you the privilege to vote. So you got to prove that you're a citizen. You got to prove you have citizen status. But you know what these nonprofit religious organizations are saying? These 501(c)(3)s, NAACP, and all, they're saying if you demand people to come up with proof that they're a citizen, then Black people and people of color will have a problem. Why are they always throwing indigenous people under the bus and throwing us in their mix? What we got to do with immigrants? Lest y'all forget, they forget we're not from Africa. We're from these lands. We're American. We are the indigenous people described in the 1828 Webster's definition of American, the copper-colored people encountered by the Europeans. That's the definition of American. It might be now applied to Europeans, but the definition is the indigenous copper-colored people from America. We didn't come from slavery. We no slave ships in Africa. We didn't come from Africa. The majority of us were already here. So we don't, how is immigrants that came here? We're not an immigrant. We are the national. When the Republic, when the Constitution talking about we the people, who you think we the people are? Who are the people that created the Republic? Come on now. The indigenous people. We're not immigrants. So when they say if you force immigrants to prove their citizenship status, the people of color, the Black Americans, they're going to struggle. They can't come up with their documents. Who you talking to? Watch your mouth. That's how we feel about it. To these nonprofit religious organizations that want to say we're going to struggle, we're going to suffer because you just always want to use us to try to get away with your shenanigans. But we're not falling for it. We letting this one ride. We just gonna let this one just work itself out. We're gonna let these nonprofit religious organizations figure that out on their own selves, by their own selves, of their own volition. So you have to prove your citizenship status in order to vote. That's the Save America Act, so that we can make sure that only citizens are voting. Hit the like button. Thank you, Sister Janine. She said, let's go. And I'm so in agreement. Change is supreme. The children, the planet, universal law should be our center of attention. Sister Janine says, make a plan and go for it. When they go home, when the people go home, they should create a plan and they should implement their plan, because living off the American people and our status and our wealth and our estates and our trust and our Social Security numbers and our birth certificate accounts and our birth certificate bonds, that's not the call or the play, and that has come to an end. Greetings, Chief Matt. He said, greetings, Kia and Soul Tribe. He called me Kia, but y'all know it's Dr. Kia. Hi, Chief. Hey, Chief. The people are seeing you in the chat, Chief. Chief Max in the house. Kia, you've been putting in work for a while. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Chief. You're so kind. Thank you for entering the chat. So I need to get off here. I don't think they can hear me snap my fingers. My children used to be able to hear me snap my fingers through the glass. Hey. Is it time to eat? Not yet? Okay. So, Chief Mac, it's almost time for me to go. But if you have something to say to contribute to the conversation, please do. Chief Mac is in the house. You do have a link, Chief Mac, if you want to come in and contribute. I only have about 5 more minutes. They say dinner's almost ready. I thought it was ready because I see my daughter in there cooking. But hey, family, we got to save America. Absolutely. So Trump said, I'm not signing anything. I'm not having any press conference. I'm not doing anything till the Save America Act is passed. He put that on his Truth Social account the other day. And so let me tell you what I got through email regarding the Save America Act. Well, I actually got it through a text. I'm not saying it's necessarily, true or not, but I want you to see the text that I got. And I get this from, we get intel from all around the world, and I. So I got this from a very trusted source. But we always have to use our discernment because we don't know if this is, what do you say, something we surmise could happen or something that's evident. So President Trump, they say just locked out America permanently. I haven't heard of it, but it's just interesting that my son just told me today, Mom, the way the country is going, it could be locked down at any moment. I said, we've been saying that for a long time, but what's happening now? And he just started telling me all this stuff. He's Dex the economist. But somebody sent me this. June 28, 2026, 9:30 a.m. The Save America Act just passed Congress. The mainstream media is ignoring it. This isn't just another bill. It's a political earthquake. What just happened? The Save America Act gives President Donald Trump unprecedented power to purge federal government of deep state operatives. 12,000 plus positions can be purged immediately now that he has authority, and he allegedly has gotten the go ahead to implement the Save America Act. He could purge federal government of the deep state, declassify 847,000 classified documents, all of them, prosecute political enemies without statute of limitations, restructure the entire intelligence apparatus, including the CIA, the FBI, NSA, control all federal spending, all $8.2 trillion, fire any federal employees without a cause. Well, because the federal government is gone. That's really why. And as it was ruled as unconstitutional. The federal government seize assets from corporate officials. And they're saying that the Save America Act is more than just proving that citizens have to show their citizenship status in order to vote. They're saying embedded in that act is a lot that says that once this passes, President Trump will be able to use his authority to then disclose a lot of information, fire people from the federal government, and completely shut down America and protect our borders. This says, I've been told by Capitol Hill contacts, Democrats are in complete panic. That I know to be true. They are in complete. That's why they are tapping on the shoulders of the NAACP, the churches, religious institutions, NGOs, and other government entities, secret societies, the Divine Nine, Black Greek sororities and fraternities, white Greek sororities and fraternities. They are tapping on the shoulders of everybody, the Democratic Party, and saying, we got to attach this to the Black population, and we got to somehow make it seem like the Save America Act is against the Black race, because the Black race is a vulnerable population. And if we say that Trump is attacking them, then we know that everybody is going to come to the aid, all these organizations of Black people. So let's tether ourselves to Black people. It's what the Democratic Party's doing. They said it in the mainstream media news article that Trump is being racist, and that if you make all immigrants show proof of citizenship, Black people will suffer the most, and people of color will have the hardest time coming up with the documents. Like, who are you talking to and who are you talking about? Because we keep our documents. In fact, people classified as Black, the indigenous people, honey, we are known for keeping our documents. We keep every birth certificate, every social security card. We keep graduation records, baptism records. Who are you talking about? We keep first grade awards, second grade awards. We keep graduation diplomas. Who are you talking to? Oh, we can prove that if you want us to prove that we got citizenship status, we can. And if you want us to prove that we are the indigenous to the land, some of us can do that too. So don't play with us. The vote, 247 Republicans plus 18 Democrats equal veto-proof majority. Even Democrats know this is over. The deep state is finished. Why does this matter? The deep state just lost. They can't stop President Donald Trump anymore. They can't block his agenda. They can't protect themselves. In fact, he said, and I reported on this the other day, that if you hurt or cheat Americans, we will hunt you down, find you, freeze your assets, and prosecute you to the fullest extent of the law. Look at my video from yesterday. He can't be stopped. Every corrupt official in Washington just got a death sentence. This act weaponizes the federal government against the deep state. 847,000 classified documents will be released. Every crime, every cover-up, according to what we've heard. Every conspiracy will be released. The FBI agencies or agents who spied on Trump exposed. The CIA officials who orchestrated coup d'etat and coups exposed. The judges who blocked President Donald Trump's agendas exposed. The politicians who took bribes exposed. I believe that. I know that to be true. Within 30 days, according to what we've been told, declassification begins. So let's see. That's by the end of July. Within 60 days, prosecutions announced. Within 90 days, arrests. Within 180 days, convictions. This is the domino effect. This act triggers cascading collapse. Day 1, deep state in panic. Day 7, first declassification. Day 30, 247 indictments unsealed. Day 60, trials begin. Day 90, convictions announced. Every corrupt politician, every corrupt bureaucrat, every corrupt judge will be exposed. They're all going down. The global message is that America is taking back control. That's what the Save America Act is about, taking control of our lands and of our wealth and of our sanity and our dignity. The deep state is finished. The patriots are in charge, or the military, more correctly, is in charge, and we, the sovereign people. And the reckoning is here. It's unstoppable. Save America Act allegedly passed on June 28th today. The deep state is over. We shall see. This is the information that I've been getting. So you tell me what you know to be true. Having said that, let's welcome the Chief of the Soul Tribe. Chief.
I can hear you. I don't know why I just stopped hearing you.
Oh, that often happens.
Hold on for a second, Kim.
Okay, my Lord.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
But I can't hear you. All of a sudden, I heard you. As soon as you clicked me on, I stopped hearing you.
Hold on, let me see. I don't know why you couldn't hear me. Want to go out and come back in? He gonna go out and come back in.
Let me see something.
Okay. Non-governmental agencies, NGOs. That's what they call them in non-governmental organizations. That's what they call them. Usually abroad. Non-profit voluntary groups that operate independently of government control. That's what an NGO is. Somebody asked me, what's an NGO? You said everybody get your birth certificates out. Chief Mac.
Now.
You there, Chief? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
Yay. Welcome, Chief Mac.
Here.
Yes.
You know what? Now I can't hear you. I don't know what's going on. At first, I was hearing you. You had like 3 screens up at first. You had like a third screen up.
Yes.
Yeah, that right there. You had that up.
Can you hear me with that one up? That's one of your screens.
But I don't know why I'm not able to hear you now.
Hold on.
It's great. But anyway, Kim, I just want to say, I know I can't hear you, but I wanted to just say to the Soul Tribe that, Kim, we appreciate you. You've been putting in major work for over 8, 9, 10 years.
Thank you.
We're giving people the financial forecast, just educating people, giving them insight and foresight. And we respect you.
Thank you, Chief.
For that.
Thank you.
You ain't new to this. You're true to this. You've been doing it for a while. And a lot of people have been able to make an executive decision. You have been explaining things to people and putting people in power and in position at the 11th hour to participate in something that's sort of a miracle getting ready to happen. Hundreds of people have been able to execute and get some foreign currency. You have been putting people in position to become powerful all by themselves.
Thank you.
You have been putting people in position not to be followers of you, but to create their own heaven, the ability to create their own heaven on earth and be strong all by themselves. And if we decide to get together, we get together as one cohesive unit. You haven't placed any demands on anybody.
No.
You operate with truth, humility, authenticity, accountability, and righteousness, Kim. And I just want to say I appreciate that. And I'm quite sure many of us appreciate that, Kim. I'm quite
Thank you.
sure we do.
Thank you.
So I think that, respect needs to be given to you from anybody, you know. And one thing we got to realize is that, like Rod says, there's no big ass little ass. We're all the same. We're all trying to find that mark, Um, I don't I don't look and think that I know it all. Nobody knows it all. We're trying to fight this battle in a wicked ass world, ran by entities with cold blooded heart to us. And we got to come together as one cohesive unit because ultimately this is who we are as a unit. A lot of people don't like to have talks like that. These beings that are here on earth with us.
Thank you. Hmm.
But I know you got to go and eat, but I just want to just come on real quick and say that a lot of us appreciate the work you're doing. If you just
Thank
go
you.
to be respectful,
Thank
place
you.
of respect for today. When people out here that said things about you, anybody that goes live on these platforms, you're gonna get talked about. That comes along with the territory. So you
It
gotta have some
does.
thick skin. But we appreciate you. And if the wheels fall off, we can put some new ones on. But really so, this thing is about to pop. There's a lot of chaos happening on the earth right now. And it's a creative
Yes,
chaos.
sir.
So go ahead and eat your dinner. We just want to say we love you, we honor you, we appreciate you, and we got you back.
Thank you, Chief. Chief, you can't hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You
I'm
can
I'm
hear
ready to
me?
back at you. Go ahead, say, but go ahead and get. I'm a time out.
Okay. So Chief Mac is chiming off, but Chief, I really want you to. I'm gonna put it in the chat. Chief, can you speak on we're going live tomorrow. We're gonna talk about mental health issues. Can you speak on that a little bit? Chief, can you speak on mental health? Chief, he can't hear me. Hopefully he'll read the comment. Chief, read the comment, Chief. Hopefully he sees that. He doesn't see it. So tomorrow at 7 o'clock p.m., we're going to talk about mental health and how we need to support each other and help each other because families are in crisis right now. And I'm sorry that Chief can't hear us, but Chief, you're not reading the comments. Chief, Chief. Oh, even if I text him, he might not see me. Uh, I don't, can anybody get his? So, well, he'll speak. He's off. Chief, I don't know if you're in the background or not, but I was asking if you can speak on mental health issues, how you and I are going to come tomorrow, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we're going to talk about how our families, human families, globally, but particularly here in America, and even in people we know are struggling with mental health issues, and we're trying to figure out a way to support each other, and we're trying to figure out how we can create a system of support for people who are struggling with with like depression, anxiety, and other mental health ailments. So I guess Chief isn't on. I thought he was in the background. Oh, you're a certified counselor. Okay, he's coming back to the You're a certified counselor. Oh, great. Struggling all around. Yes, Chief.
I had came off and I heard you were saying about mental illness, and I had said some time ago about mental illness because I had spoke to you about my mom, you
Yes.
know, and I was talking about mental illness, and we
Yes.
had which the live tomorrow is going to be a very important live. If y'all can get on, this is definitely it needed to be talked about. It needed to be talked about, and we're going to have this sister on, and she had a crisis situation
Mm,
that happened in her life. And I'll just say this much, guys. We need to galvanize around this sister
mm.
and pour support. Care, we appreciate you, Care,
Thank you, Chief.
because you exemplify what a
Thank
true
you.
mom and a true leader in our community does. Why is that? And I
Thank
told you
you.
this.
You did.
Rod had put up a post about this young lady.
Mm-hmm.
Rod Hayes had put up a post, and he said that pretty much was saying that whatever you're going through, I feel you. I don't know what exactly in detail you're going through, but my heart, pretty much like my heart goes out to you, and we got you like that. When
Mm-hmm.
you saw Rob post that, you called me up and said, Chief, this person that Rob posted seemed like she's a friend of yours. And you asked me about it. I said, oh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, she's a dear, good friend of mine. We've been friends on Facebook ever since I remember in 2020 because she was one of the very few females that was going to bat and going to war with sounding her voice like a trumpet, telling people not to
Mm.
take the Jim Jones juice.
Mm.
And me and her linked up because we were both collectively warning people not to take the Jim Jones juice. And she
Mm.
and I have been good friends. I have looked out for her. I've been a good counselor. And so when you saw Rod post that, it touched your heart. You called me up and said, Chief, I need to talk to her. I said, but yeah, allow me to talk to her first because
You
this
did.
is a crisis situation she's going through. And I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
just call you with on the line like that. I want to just gauge her in terms of how she's feeling. Because
You
I hadn't
did.
even talked to her because I know she's been bombarded with a lot of people getting that I've sent out a financial donation. And I do this a lot with a lot of different people. But for the fact that it touched your heart and you were just so adamant. I need to. You felt like you just needed to talk to her because she
Mm-hmm.
needed to love. Because we had to
Mm-hmm.
keep this sister from cracking. Because
Mm-hmm.
when you have, I'm gonna tell you something. At any given day, anything can happen cataclysmic in our families' lives, guys. And we got to
Mm-hmm.
be so grateful and thankful. Man, I'm telling you guys. And
Yeah.
what happened with her? She's gonna need our outreach, our donations, our speaking life into her so that she won't break because she has something happen to her that'll break anybody down.
Mm-hmm.
And Kia
Mm-hmm.
took the time to call her sister, speak life into her, love her, and let her know that you're not going through this alone. And that is the true example of a mother of all nations to
Oh, thank
exemplify
you.
that. Where you're not just selfish and thinking about yourself and your family. You can be a mother to all. Like my mom was like that.
Yeah.
My mom had 10 children, 5 boys and 5 girls, but my mom was a mother to all of the other children out there, you know.
Mm.
And we didn't get jealous. We just said, hey, that's just what most moms did. She was a mother. My mom was a mother of mothers.
Wow.
She wanted to teach the young women how to be women. And
I
she
love
loved
that.
on the other children, and we didn't get jealous because my mom was just that type
Mm.
of. We need these type of women again, and
Yes,
you
sir.
exemplify that. And it's
Thank you.
not that many women that exemplify that. You know,
Mm.
when you did what you did, it shows you the true character of a Gen X that loves not only your children
Yes.
but have a heart for your brothers and sisters. What you did is commendable. I would say, I commend you on that. I think
Thank
the
you,
young lady
Chief.
that we bring, our younger sister, we bring it on tomorrow. She's in total gratitude. She really thinks. She texted me said, "Oh, kid, just so sweet. She's just so
I'm so
wonderful,
I'm
and you
so
touched her
grateful.
life. You added value to her life. You helped. You made her life easier from what she's
Mm.
dealing with right now, and that needs to be commended. I commend
Thank
you on that.
you. Thank you, Chief. Thank you so much. It means a lot to me. Thank you, Chief. Thank
Yeah.
you, Soul Family. The Soul Family wants to know if you can call in tomorrow. I will. I will. I will. I think that's a good idea. I'll talk to Chief about it, and I'll talk to our special guest to make sure she's comfortable with that. We want people to tell their stories. I don't want anybody. We just got to make sure nobody's going to hurt her feelings or try to judge her situation.
She's comfortable with that. We want people to tell their
So
stories. I don't want anybody.
um,
We just gotta make sure nobody's gonna
a lot of people want to come on and maybe
she's comfortable with that. We want
talk
people to
about
tell
what
their
they're going
stories.
through. So let's come tomorrow, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and hear the sister's stories. And we'll let some people to give their testimonies, and we'll offer our support. So I'll see you all tomorrow. Now, 11 o'clock a.m., I'm going to have Farmer Dre on to talk about living off the land and how to prepare for an emergency broadcast system announcement. I don't know if y'all can hear feedback. I do. That's it, family. You heard from the chief. I'm Dr. Kia Pruitt. I trust that we've said something to raise your vibrations and inspire you to create the amazing, magnificent life you desire and deserve. How about that? Thank you for all your donations. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye, Chief. I'll talk to you in a minute.
Okay.
Okay. And remember, it was Chief Mac's birthday, family. Wish him a happy birthday. Happy Sunday evening. And make sure you contact Chief Mac. Unity in Motion 45 at yahoo.com. Unity in Motion 45 at yahoo.com. Sorry, y'all. My mind is all over the place. We're talking about our sister and her situation. I can't even think straight. I can't imagine being a mother and you have a crisis where you have to bury your grandbaby. I can't. So my heart goes out to our sister. Please join us at 11 a.m. if you want to hear about how to prepare for an emergency broadcast system announcement. And please, please come at 7 o'clock p.m. tomorrow to hear our sister's story. Peace out, man. Bye-bye.
To a brighter, freer day. Through her channel, knowledge flows, breaking chains that hold us close, teaching paths to abundance and wealth, guiding others to free themselves. Soul tribe rising, hear her call, raising vibrations.
Thank you, Sister Janine, for always supporting me and for being such a kind, loving help and support to Chief Mac, Dr. Kia Pruitt, me, and the Soul Tribe. We love you for being our moderator for 5 years now. God bless you. Bless you, Soul Tribe. Sorry. I'm going to call our sister now and make sure she's okay or send her a text. She's been bombarded with family members, so I don't want to hold her up, but I look forward to hearing her speak to us tomorrow. I love y'all. Thank you, family.
Soul tribe rising, hear her call, raising vibrations for one and all. Dr. Kia shows the way to a brighter.
Chief Mac just had a birthday. If you want to send him a love offering, his cash app is $ Allen Judah 47. $ALLENJUDAH 47. Happy birthday, Chief. Happy birthday to all of our June family members. That's it, family. We're out for real this time.
To a new and brighter day.
And while the gold prices are down, give Miles Franklin a call at 952-929-7006 or send an email to Miles Franklin Precious Metals Company at info@milesfranklin.com and ask them, hey, Andy, hey, brokers, what should I get? I want to get some silver and gold. I heard about you from the Dr. Kia Pruitt show. If you mentioned that you heard about precious metals, gold, silver, copper from the Dr. Kia Pruitt show, family, you will get the best prices in the industry. So we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you again, Sister Janine. Yes, $ Allen Judah 47 for the birthday guy. I can't wait to see you all tomorrow. Please be here tomorrow. Please bring your testimonies. Please, please, please. We want to hear from you. What is everybody going through? How many people have had some kind of mental health issue? And now let me tell you right now, it's going to be a touching subject. So we don't want to, if this could be a trigger or it might be too much or it might remind you of something you went through, then it might not be a good show for you tomorrow at 7 o'clock p.m. But if you are able to, because we don't want anybody to suffer any more than what you are suffering, okay? But if you have gone through some type of crisis or depression or anxiety, or just have something going on where you have a lot of pressure you're going through, and you can offer some support to this sister as she tells her story, and maybe even some support to the whole soul tribe. What can we do to help you? I know what I needed when I was going through my crisis. I needed, I had a great pastor. I'm going to tell you right now, I was deeply involved in the church when I was going through a mental health crisis. And my pastor said, look, you are a minister. You are pouring into everybody else while you're raising your family, while you're working and going to school. You need to sit down and take a break and just breathe. My pastor said, it is okay to say, this is more than what I can handle. I need to take care of myself. It's okay to focus on yourself. And my pastor said, we need to stop shaming people that are in crisis, that are grieving or going through depression, anxiety, or any mental health crisis, people that going through bereavement, divorce. All of this can cause you to spin out of, so-called control. My pastor said, listen, the church has historically made people feel bad for having mental health issues or being in crisis or being depressed. But and he was a chemist. So he knew, he said, look, I'm a chemist. I know about biochemistry. I had to study that for a living. And as a chemist, I know certain stressors can lead to a chemical imbalance. Certain life situations can cause your brain to not function the way it normally would. It can literally, a crisis, depression can cause a chemical imbalance that will lead you to feel so despondent you can't get out of bed. Now he said, I'm gonna tell you from a professional standpoint, what a lot of churches won't tell you. And he said, I'm a pastor and I'm a bishop, but I'm gonna tell you, if you were in crisis, open up your mouth and tell somebody. He said, Evangelist Mason is telling us right now, she's stressed, she's feeling, like the things are crashing in on her. She's got to deal with certain issues. She's raising teenagers. She's got, she's married. She's a minister. She's carrying a lot of different things on her. She's deeply involved in the community. No, I told Dr. Kia, I wasn't even doctor, Evangelist Kia, to take a break. And not near one of y'all better not say a thing to her, is what he said. Except for, I love you. How can I support you? And then his assistant pastor, who was right under him, she was a woman. She said, it's okay to admit that you're in this situation where you need extra support. She said, a lot too often we shame ourselves into reaching out and asking for help. This is what the assistant pastor said. It's okay, Kia, she said, to say, this is too much for me. I'm in crisis. I need to sit down. I need to take a break. I don't know what's happening. I need to take a break from work. I'm doing too much ministry. And I hadn't dealt with a lot of trauma from my childhood. She said, God is showing you through this experience of you don't know why you're having these issues. We feel like you can't get out of bed. It's because you've been going, running, working, getting degrees, focusing on helping people, helping the church, building up pastors, teaching class, writing Sabbath school books, healing people, laying hands on people, delivering the people, going to the hospital, feeding the hungry. I literally did this, feeding the sick, having prison ministries, leaving. I led 13 ministries. Then you go to work, you volunteer, you're helping all the children, you volunteer at the schools, you volunteer in the community. She said, have you ever dealt with the fact that when you were a child, certain things happen? Have you ever really been able to deal with some of the things you went through as a child? And I said, no, ma'am. She said, then you ought to thank God right now where you are, even though it might be hard. You ought to thank God that God is telling you your body can't go. And you know what happened? And I got really depressed. And thank you, sister, for her. I'm glad that my sister shared. She's not my biological sister, but the sister I'm gonna bring on tomorrow, share her story with me, because now I can tell my story. Because you try to tell people you've been through crisis, people will call you names, say you crazy. People can be cruel. But I'm grateful that she told me her story because now I'm gonna tell you my story. I was so stressed doing so many things. I never dealt with all the y'all know what 1 in 4 girls go through in their life, right? And 1 in 7 boys, right? We're not gonna say it. Going through certain things, growing up in poverty, having family issues, everybody doing the best they can, not having enough money to make it, all this stuff. But now that I was feeling stressed out and traumatized and traumatic, you know what happened? The stress from all the years of stuff I've been through was not only dealing with my psyche where I was feeling depressed and couldn't get out of bed, but physically something happened where one day I woke up and I couldn't walk. And I told people I had to leave my job once because I had to go on disability. I woke up one day and couldn't walk, and we couldn't decide what was going on. I went to doctor after doctor. We didn't know why I couldn't walk. Do you know that stress can cause biological, physical problems? I could not walk. They gave me injections in my hip. They gave me cortisone shots. They gave me medicine. They gave me pain medicine that, has kind of made me loopy. But my sister, who is, all my family members are, nurses or in some type of medical profession. One of my sisters, like, I'm not letting you take these pain pills. They can be addictive. I know you're in a lot of pain. I couldn't walk. I couldn't stand. I couldn't move. It was horrible. She said, you're going to have to take ibuprofen. And as a nurse, I can tell you what diagnosis of ibuprofen you could take for the pain, but I'm not letting you take these pain pills because a lot of people get in physical pain, go to the doctor, they give them high dosage pain pills, and then they get addicted to drugs. Now they're a drug addict, okay? And it's not because they want to be addicted to drugs, it's because they can't deal with the pain. And then you get hooked on drugs, and now you feel so bad and you get guilty. A lot of people that now people talking about you, it can cause a downward spiral. And then some people become ashamed. They can't go back home. They don't know how to tell their family members. This is a serious issue, mental health. Okay. But I couldn't walk. And my sister said, you're not going to take these painkillers. I'm going to put you on. She said, I would recommend you tell the doctor you need maybe 600 to 800 milligrams of ibuprofen because you're in too much pain. You can't get up. You can't walk. Literally, I was crawling on the floor. I didn't know. Well, through all of I had an interdisciplinarian team. We have doctors, nurses, people from different disciplines within the medical profession come and talk to me about my family history, things I was going through, everything. We just laid everything on the table, and they were like, it is really plausible that the stress is presenting biologically. And I had a Christian doctor that was on the staff. He said, this is God's way of telling you to sit down. This is God's way of telling you that you need to take a break from trying to help everybody else and get to the root of the issue. It's not just physical. He said, it's emotional abuse that you've been through. It's a lot of trauma. He said, you don't want to admit to this, but people growing up in poverty and in broken homes often deal with depression and anxiety. And it's sometimes at a subconscious level and you don't even know about it. You're not even aware of it. So you keep going like everything's okay, but all of a sudden your body just crashes. That's what he told me. And that when he said that, I got the help that I needed. And I'm so grateful that I did. I won't go into any more details because, you don't want to self-disclose too much. But I'm grateful that I had the presence of mind to say, I need some help. It's a very serious issue. I need my community. And I'm grateful that my pastor said, sit down and take care of yourself. If you don't want to go to work, don't go to work. If you don't want to do ministry right now, don't go to ministry. Physician, heal thyself, he said. Great pastor, great man of God that can see. And I said, and I was crying. I said, Pastor, I didn't want to tell you that I was going through, I woke up and I couldn't walk. I just called and said, I can't come to church today. I said, but I didn't go to work. I don't know what's happening. And he said, you did the right thing by calling. Now I can offer support and I can tell the whole church. He said, this is an issue where people go, work on top of crises after crises. He said this is something the church has frowned upon because they said if you're depressed, if you're stressed, you're supposed to just pray about it. Tell Jesus to fix it. No, Jesus would tell you to go get some medical help, he said. He said, now, some of y'all on sugar diabetes medicine, some of y'all high blood pressure medicine, some of y'all, he said, some of us, have had cancer scares, some of us have had all these physical ailments, and we'll go get help. But when somebody is depressed or despondent or in trouble or anxious or have anxiety, or maybe they're hearing voices or whatever the biochemistry may be off, whatever. But when it's something dealing with mental health, we tell them to just call on Jesus and fix it. We tell them to pray it away or get somebody to lay hands on. He said, I don't need you to lay hands on me if I'm depressed. I need you to talk to me, to hold me, to counsel me, to give me a break, to help me with the children, to help heal marriages. That's what the people that are depressed need. To rally around as a community. That's what we need. Not to talk about people and tell them to get over it, pray it away. No. Yes, you can pray. Yes, you can send meditative and healing energies. Yes, you can do all of that, but also offer support. So that's it, family. I got to go. I see my family now. They're sitting at the table. I love you, and I'll talk to you soon. See you tomorrow at 11 o'clock a.m. with our friend Dre the Farmer to talk about how to prepare for EBS, and then at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time to talk about mental health issues. I love you.